All right, we're going to look at economic basics, scarcity and opportunity cost. First thing we need to look at is what the definition of economics is. And it's really just the study of how people and governments and societies use their scarce resources to obtain goods and services. And there are two different types of economics that you can study, and the first one is microeconomics. Microeconomics is when you take the study of and narrow in on just individual aspects of an economy. So as opposed to looking at the whole entire economic system as a whole, you're only going to look at the choices that individuals make, or the choices that an industry makes, or a choice that one business makes. Macroeconomics is looking at the whole entire economy. So you would be studying things like inflation, unemployment, economic growth. So just like a microscope, in microeconomics, you're taking the whole entire economy and just zeroing in on one aspect of that, whether it's an individual, a firm, or a business. Macro is looking at the whole entire economy. And so the first thing we need to deal with in terms of economics is the idea of scarcity. On the left-hand side there, you see that the resources are limited. So we only have a certain amount of natural resources and human resources. We only have a certain amount of machines available to us to produce goods and services. But on the right-hand side, it says virtually unlimited human wants and needs. So every time you have a need met, you come up with another need or a want. Once you get one of your things that you want met, you're always going to want something else. So scarcity basically is the basic economic problem that everyone has to face. And the two things that combine to create scarcity are limited resources and unlimited wants and needs. And because of scarcity, we have to make choices. We can't have everything. Here in the United States, we use prices to determine who's going to get the stuff in our economy. The producer makes it, they put a price tag on it, and then the consumer gets to decide for themselves whether it's something they value and they want to purchase. And we can determine also, using prices, how scarce something is. The more expensive something is, the more scarce it is. And when people go to make decisions, they use their own self-interest in making that decision. So we don't have the government intervening. These two people here are both of them pursuing their own self-interest. You have the customer who is purchasing something and the store owner who is glad to exchange the goods for the money. And each one of them are pursuing their own self-interest. And they're both weighing the cost and the benefits to them when they're making a decision. Trade-offs and opportunity costs. So a trade-off are all the choices that are available to you when you make a choice. Then you would rank all of those choices in order, and then you have the top two that you have. Once you get those top two choices, you have your final choice, and then you have your opportunity cost. So the trade-offs are all the choices. There can be hundreds, thousands, it could be unlimited the number of trade-offs there are available to you for any decision that you make. There might be fewer, but it just depends again on what choice you're making. The opportunity cost is the next best alternative that is given up when a choice is made. So there is only one opportunity cost. Again, trade-offs are all of the choices. Once you've made your final choice, that next best alternative that you gave up is the opportunity cost. And a lot of times in economics, they will refer to guns and butter. Guns are just supposed to represent spending by the government, and butter is supposed to represent consumer spending. And this is a quote from Dwight Eisenhower. It says, "Every gun that is made, every warship launched, every rocket fired signifies in the final sense a theft from those who hunger and are not fed, those who are cold and are not clothed. The world in arms is not spending money alone. It is spending the sweat of its laborers, the genius of its scientists, the hopes of its children." And so he is making a guns and butter reference here. So what he is telling us is there are, a lot of choices that the government can make when they're spending money. So they have tons of trade-offs when they're trying to decide what they are going to take tax dollars and spend. And then once they take a certain amount of money and decide to make weapons with that, the opportunity cost of making weapons for the military, we give up the opportunity to feed the hungry, or to clothe people who don't have enough money for clothing. You could add to that, when you spend money on rockets, you can't build a school, or you can't build a hospital. And again, the genius of it, scientists. Those scientists who are spending time making weapons, they can't spend that same time to maybe look for cures for diseases. So it is a guns and butter decision that he is talking about.